Hi, you have no idea how excited I am. We did it! We have a new Sally Rooney novel. We have it. We're probably gonna have to wait a long time to have another one. So let's just contain our excitement. Hi, welcome back to Isabel's Digest. My name is Isabel, and today we're going to attempt to digest this book that I finished last night. As you might know, if you follow this channel or if you have any taste, you would know that I love normal people and I love Sally Rooney's writing style. Conversations with Friends is not my favorite thing, but Normal People means a lot to me. That's a book that touches every fiber of myself. And because of this, I was very scared of starting this novel. I got it the day they came out, and still I couldn't even open it. I was so scared that it wasn't going to live up to Normal People. It wasn't going to replicate the same feelings, or that my own excitement was going to ruin it for me. But that didn't happen. I finished it all in one day, and I want to talk to you about just what it is, what the story is, the themes, all of it. Like, I just want to convince you to freaking read it. And I don't think I need to do much of a campaign for that, because you're going to be seeing this everywhere, because this is the most anticipated release of the year. So I guess you're wondering now, what is Beautiful World, Where Are You about, right? And first of all, I want to start by saying that I haven't had enough time to think about what is this book about. It doesn't feel like one of those books that is about the characters or what they go through or like a specific plot. It is one of those books when not a lot happens, but a lot is said and is left unsaid. So maybe if that's not your jam, maybe this won't be the book for you, but it definitely is the book for me. We have 4 characters: Alice, Felix, Eileen, and Simon. Which I have to say, Simon is the best character. Nothing bad can happen to Simon. Felix can die for all I care, but Simon is amazing and perfect, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's continue. So Alice is a novelist. We start with her and we have a main focus on her. Well, we kind of switch back and forth. It's not only from her perspective, but she's definitely the character I would pick as the main character, because everything kind of goes around her and her decisions. She's a novelist who's not very happy with the life that she's living. She thinks that the fame is consuming her, and she kind of moves to the countryside where she meets Felix on Tinder. And he works in a warehouse. He's your regular lad, honestly. We also have the correspondence, the emails between Alice and Eileen, her uni best friend, and a character that first you would think it's a foil to Alice, but she's so rounded, so complex, and so interesting to read that I think that it's a very well balanced novel. Eileen has been just through a breakup, and she's finding herself going back to Simon. Simon is her best friend since she was born. They grew up together, and he's older than her. He has always represented this what if and like a more stable life, but she doesn't want to ruin the friendship. They don't want to cross that line that would maybe imply that when they break up, they can't be friends anymore, and they prefer to be friends, even if that means being away from each other or having other partners or never fully being completely together. And we see kind of like this window into their lives. I guess it's a couple of months of emails and of their separate life and when they come together at the countryside. And as I said, nothing happens. Like, not a lot happens in this novel more than the conversations and the two couples kind of coming together, breaking up, getting to know each other, etc., etc. So you might wonder, well, what is it about? And I like to think of this novel, especially the characters and the conversations, as kind of like, it reminds me to kind of like the end of the century literature. In these novels, they're kind of very cynical, thinking about humanity, thinking about big questions like, what is it all for? What is it all about? What's the meaning of life? Does anything even matter when we're all going to die? The irrelevance of everyday trifles, but how they are relevant to you as a person. Like this type of literature that is kind of like marking the end of an era and starting a new one tends to be very much like that, and these characters are going through that in their own lives. Like it's the end of their 20s, they're all 29 except Simon, who's already in, I think, 34, and they wonder, what did I do with my life? What were my 20s about? What I want my 30s to be like? Beautiful World, Where Are You really focuses in those questions, and what happens when all your friends move away? What happens when the dreams that you had for your life didn't come true? That you kind of stop having dreams, and all of those questions of how you're going to approach the next 10 years of your lives or the rest of your life. These four characters just really remind me to this type of literature that is the end of an era, the end of the century, starting a new one, like a big impact in the society. And what does this mean for the individual? As I said, for me, Beautiful World, Where Are You is not a novel about the characters. And it's also not conversations with friends that is kind of like the miscommunications and things left unsaid that you kind of want to slap the characters. Because we do get to see the emails that are written so brilliantly. So we kind of understand more of Eileen and Alice through them. It's not that anxiety inducing, but it's also not Marianne and Connell in Trinity College. It's not Dublin. It's not your early 20s of the self-discovery. It really is very mature, very grown up. And it works as the ensemble of characters. They have to be there for it to work, for it to have these dynamics and the interesting parallels that you can draw from them. We have all of these conversations about labor and communism, capitalism, consumerism, beauty, all of these things that you can see how each one is the other side of the coin. Like Simon is a very religious person, and then we have people who are non-religious, and they all seem equally lost. So religion is not the answer. And then we see Alice, who's so tired of being an author, of being famous, that she has this mental breakdown about it, while Eileen has to slave herself to a job that she doesn't hate but doesn't pay a lot, but it's seen kind of like as not what she was meant to do, while Felix works in a warehouse with it's very much manual labor enforced, and he earns more than Eileen, but he hates his job. It's all of this conversations about the middle class and privilege that really make my head spin around. And it's so obvious that Sally Rooney is way smarter than me, that she wonders a lot about things, that she thinks things through, and that she is just brilliant and way above all of us. Speaking of her, Sally Rooney, as the author of acclaimed novels like Conversations with Friends and Normal People and people being obsessed with her online, in this novel she speaks in a very different way. Like because we have Alice that is a novelist, I am inclined to think that Sally Rooney is using that as a device to be a little bit autobiographical and to talk a little bit about her experience in the literary world as a recognized author, as a famous author, and how she freaking hates it. Like, I feel bad because we all say that we would read Sally Rooney's grocery list and that we idolize her and we love her and we think we know so much about her. And over here in her novel, she's basically calling us idiots because we don't know her at all. And she hates that we think that we do. I don't know. There is a discussion of how much of a privilege it is, but Alice also complains a lot about the privilege she has of writing novels and how bad it is. And I don't know, I am not in the literary world, I only read the books, but I feel sad that if this is autobiographical in that sense, like only with Alice's character, I feel bad because it means that Sally Rooney's not happy with all the praise and love we gave her. And I'm so sorry that I totally believe that we will be best friends. I know that you're smarter than me and we probably wouldn't. And yes, moving on. As I said, I think that this third novel of hers really shows how much she has grown as a writer, but just as a person. As I said, we are not in Trinity College anymore. We are not little English majors. We are not 23. We are 29. We are professionals. We have mortgages and we are thinking back on the 20s already. And I feel like the temptation that these characters have is to be more cynical and to think about with a lot of pessimism how the world is doomed to end, how our society is doomed to be forgotten about, and if we are all going to be forgotten, well, what's the point? And it feels like starting your 30s is kind of like this catharsis of being okay, I'm not going to dream new dreams because dreams don't actually become reality, or the dreams that I had and then I accomplished were all the wrong things, or I wasn't meant to do this because it actually doesn't make me happy. Something that surprised me in this book is that it ends in the pandemic, which is probably something that we're going to be seeing a lot in the next few years, or maybe some people are just going to completely disregard it and offer us some way of escapism. But this book is very political, and it's also about the pandemic at the end and how the pandemic changes this ensemble of kind of cynical characters that kind of take life for granted and all the things that they have, like the friendships they have, the freedom they have. For example, Eileen and Simon, they kind of take for granted that they're always going to be there for each other, that it's always going to be a possibility to be together. And I feel like the last chapter or so that talks about the pandemic, you see a change in the characters because they're genuinely happy, because they're choosing to actively look for the beauty in the world. They're looking for it. That's why it's called Beautiful World, Where Are You? Because when you're young, it's kind of easier to see the beauty in things because you're hopeful, because you're waiting for your life to happen and you are so sure that something good is going to come along. And after having a few disappointments along the way, it is up to you to look for that beauty. And that's why I think the title, it's really good, even if it's kind of like a mouthful, because Normal People was kind of like very easy to say. But Beautiful World, Where Are You is really a contemporary work with a feeling of timelessness. So like anyone is going to be able to pick this book in the future probably and point it out to 2020, 2021, and 2019 maybe, of this is how we were spiraling. And probably people in the future are still gonna like it because it feels so questions that we are going to have about life. We are all going to think about this because that's what we've been thinking for the past centuries. So yes, it feels very relevant and very timeless at the same time. And I think that only speaks of how talented Sally Rooney is, how great she is at making complex characters, bringing uncomfortable questions, and yes, I wish I was that brilliant. I don't really want to spoil anything. I think that I already done some of that, and maybe if I had more time and I have waited a few days, I could have made a better review. But I'm just gonna kind of dump on you some themes that you can expect, because if I tell you, well, maybe it's not character driven, you're gonna be like, it's boring. It is not boring. All the conversations there go through economics, politics, religion, capitalism, communism, friendship, sex, sexuality, desire, lost communication, intelligence, lack of talent, a lot of talent, bad decisions, good decisions, family, the complexities of family, the complexities of friendship, also very important, of just human relationships in general, money, success, literature, the middle class, and what does that actually mean, feminism and sexism, and empires, how they are doomed to fail, love, failure, beauty, the beauty industry, the literary industry, things that we buy because it makes us feel good, what you should have done by the time that you turn 30, and what does it mean if you haven't. Are you a good person? Are you a bad person? What does it even mean that you believe in God? What does it even mean that you say that you don't believe in anything? This book is like so round. It's probably is rounder than normal people, and it talks about lost communication way better than Conversations with Friends does. Beautiful World, Where Are You is so intelligent and brilliant, and you, after you finish reading it, or if you take a pause, you're like, what am I even reading? This is way too much for me. But it feels so easy to digest, even if it's so packed of themes, that even though the characters feel tangible, you are thinking beyond their characters. You're thinking about these greater questions that Rooney poses. You're thinking about these debates that the characters have, and you really think about your own thoughts and your own opinions about all of this. Beautiful World, Where Are You is a novel about our times, humanity, our human relationships, and just about everything and about nothing at the same time. This wasn't an advanced reader's copy. I got it like everyone else's, so please go get yours if you're interested, because you're going to be seeing it everywhere, so you might as well read it too and make your own opinion about it. If I had to rank them, Normal People is still top for me because of Connell. It's just Connell. And because Normal People was like heartbreaking. Beautiful World, Where Are You is kind of hopeful at the end. I wasn't expecting that, but I would say that it's hopeful. It makes you feel like everything's going to be fine, because you're going to make it fine. It's all up to you. And I don't want to say that this book is about the pandemic or is the book of the pandemic, but afterwards, when we look back, I am sure this is going to be at the top of the list when people want to read about this time, or when people want to read about your mid-youth crisis and how are you preparing yourself for your 30s. I would definitely recommend you to read it, as I said. And Simon is the best. That is all from me. Thanks for watching. Keep reading, and when you're not, follow me on all my social media, link down below. There is still one more back to school video, so wait for that one. By the way, Beautiful World, Where Are You is 5 out of 5 for me. That's just how it is. Tell me all about it. Are you planning on reading it? Do you want to read it? Have you read other works by Sally Rooney? Do you think she's overrated? Do you think that she is the best writer of our generation? I kind of think that she is the best writer of our generation. And just keep me posted, you know? I'll see you all next week. Bye!